Hello, fifth grade scientists. Miss Hutchinson here in my backyard for our last science lab of the year. Can you believe it? It's almost time for summer. This one is just for fun. Although, it does call back to our earlier science lessons when we were talking all about chemical reactions. We did a whole lab where you traveled to stations and tried 4 different combinations of ingredients and saw whether or not there was a chemical reaction. Back when we did that lab, we learned that there are 5 ways to recognize a chemical reaction. Do you remember any of them? I know it's been a while. Let me remind you. We know that a chemical reaction has taken place when there is a change in color, a change in temperature, the appearance of a precipitate. Remember, like a solid suddenly shows up in a liquid. When there's the presence of gas, and when light is released. Today we're going to look at one of those 5 in a fun experiment. We're going to look at a chemical change that we know is happening because there's a change in temperature. This one is an exothermic reaction. Do you remember what exothermic means? We did talk about it, but again, it's been a while. Exothermic means it releases heat. So when the reaction takes place, the materials actually get hotter. So be careful if you're going to try this one at home. All right, we saw demonstrations of it in video. You guys begged to do it in the classroom. I was like, no, it's a little messy and a little dangerous, but I found a safe recipe. Do you guys remember what it was that you wanted to do? It's a fun one. It's called Elephant Toothpaste, and I'm going to show you how to do it safely at home if you want to give it a try. The first thing we need to do is go over the materials to do this safely at home if you want to try it out. Let's take a look. Here are the materials you need. An empty 16-ounce plastic bottle or container, 1/2 cup hydrogen peroxide, either 3% or 6% solution, 1 tablespoon dishwashing soap, 1 packet of active yeast, which is also about a tablespoon, 3 tablespoons of warm water, food coloring if you want, a small bowl or cup, and a spoon for mixing. All right, so I thought I'd review my materials with you. I have my hydrogen peroxide. I got 3% or 10 volume. You could use 6% or 20 volume if you wanted. I have my dish soap ready to add in. Here's my empty bottle where our reaction will take place. I've got my packet of active dry yeast. This has my warm water in it because I'm working outside. I've got a couple measuring cups and some spoons, and my food coloring so that I can make it a fun color. I also, because I have them, I'm gonna wear safety goggles as I do this. You probably don't need them at home, but hydrogen peroxide can be an irritant to your eyes, so you have something. So if you have something, you might want to wear it. All right, now that I've gathered all my materials, let's double check the steps you can take to try this out at home. Procedure. 1. Find a place where things can get messy, perhaps in your sink or outdoors. 2. Pour 1/2 cup hydrogen peroxide solution and 1 tablespoon dishwashing soap into the empty plastic bottle or container. 3. If you want, add some food coloring to this solution. Swirl the bottle to mix the ingredients. 4. In your separate bowl or cup, mix the active yeast with warm water. Mix the ingredients for about 30 seconds. It should be the consistency of melted ice cream. You can add more water if needed. 5. When you're ready, pour the yeast and water mixture into the bottle. The reaction is immediate. All right, we've checked our procedures and I'm ready to get started. First thing is to find a good place to work that can get a little messy. I'm working outside and I'm on a plastic table and I've covered it in plastic just to make sure. You could do this in your sink. The reaction is safe to wash down the drain, so you could work in a sink if that's easier for you. First step is to measure out 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide and pour it in the bottle. So hopefully my bottle doesn't fly away right now. I'm going to measure out with my hydrogen peroxide. 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide. So this is a 1 cup, so I need to fill it about halfway. Let's see. Start with that. Put it on the table. Ooh, looks pretty good. So I can close this up, put it off to the side. You guys can see I've got my 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide. That goes into the bottle. You want to be a little careful not to do any big spills. A little spill won't be a problem, but try to get it all in there. There we go, and I can put that to the side. All right. Next up, I'm going to add a big squirt of dish soap. You can measure out 1 tablespoon. I did not bring out a tablespoon with me, so I'm just going to measure out a nice big squirt into my bottle. There we are. All right, and I do want to add some coloring. So I have some neon colors here. I thought I'd stick with blue to start. Blue for meadows. Why not? I'm going to put about 8 drops in there. There we go. And then we want to swirl that together just a little bit. We want to swirl that together so our ingredients get combined, but not too frothy or foamy. Perfect. I'm going to put the lid on because it's windy out here and put it off to the side so that I can do my next step. Next is to make our yeast part. So you're going to take your 1 packet of active dry yeast. Oops, carefully open it up. I made a little bit of a mess, that's okay. Pour it into a cup. I'm using a measuring cup because I don't have a funnel, but a measuring cup lets me pour it in nicely into my bottle at the end there. And I'm going to add some water. I said about 3 tablespoons. I'm going to start with a little bit less, and I can always add more. Maybe the tiniest bit more. There we go. Add it in, mix it up. Our instructions say you kind of want it the consistency of melted ice cream. So not super watery, but not so thick that it can't pour easily. And I think I said mix it up for about 30 seconds. Let that reaction kind of start. Yeast and water join together to kind of make a paste. I think I'm a little shy on water. I will add just a smidge more. I've got almost too much of a paste going on here. As I mix this up, it's sticking to my spoon a lot. Look at all that stuck to my spoon. I want that to get in there. All right, now let me add a little bit more water. That should probably do it. Mix it up a little bit longer. Really make sure that yeast and water is combined together nicely. That way it pours into your bottle nicely. Try and get some of that extra yeast off my spoon. There we go. Ooh, already making a mess. All right, that looks pretty good. Most of it's off my spoon. Put that off to the side. All right, the final step, and then it's going to happen. You pour your yeast and water straight into the bottle with your hydrogen peroxide, soap, and food coloring, and it is instantaneous. Let me clean off this little spot here. All right, I'm going to move some extra stuff so all my other materials don't get dirty. Put them off to the side, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, what do you think is going to happen? I know you know what's going to happen. Is it going to be big, small? What do you think? Take a moment and make a prediction. Did you make a prediction? Do you think it's going to go shooting up into the air like we've seen in some of our videos? Probably not, but something's going to happen, so let's find out what it is. Alrighty. I'm going to very carefully pour my yeast and water right in there, and it should start right away. Ah! I got on my measuring cup. Alright. Ooh, remember we said this was an exothermic reaction? I can feel the heat actually coming off of my foam that's pouring out of my bottle. It's not too hot. You could touch it, but you don't have to. You can feel the heat if you hold your hand above. And what's nice about this reaction is once it's all said and done, the byproducts, products, are completely safe to touch. I wouldn't ingest it. I know it says toothpaste, but it's not toothpaste. But it's okay to touch. It's basically just soapy water at this point. There we have it. This is why you want to find a place that can get messy, because here it's spreading all over the place. And it's still going. It's pretty quick at first, and then it slows down, but it is still going a little bit. So I'm going to let this reaction play out, do a quick cleanup, and then we'll wrap it up before we head out for summer. There you have it, 5th graders, an easy and safe way to try out Elephant Toothpaste right at home. I hope you give it a try, maybe not right now, maybe you wait until summer, which is just around the corner, and you do it then. That's all I've got for you today. Congratulations on making it through your final year in elementary school. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, and fun summer. Good luck in 6th grade, and as always, stay curious, scientists.